Building and construction of the building is about $8 million. Equipment costs about $6 million. Fleet equipment, transport. So all in, we're about $15 million to build a UniFirst facility that would meet our needs here in Taylor. And it could vary. It's going to be somewhere between 80,000 to 100,000 square feet. All right. They're a good looking facility to have in your town. All right. Currently, I have about 300 employees. With this new facility and buying the company from Era, which was I believe Era was based out of Michigan for like 65 years, I believe. Over the next 10 years, I was very conservative with my number, okay? I've run about 7 divisions for UniFirst. I've worked for the company 20 years now. We grow much faster than that, but I don't believe in blowing numbers up. I like to be honest with people. In the next 10 years, you know, somewhere between from 300 to 450, 500 employees. So, you know, maybe like another additional 150 jobs. Again, if you do a little homework about UniFirst, we're a community-based business, so most of the people who work in our industry live in the neighborhood, right? They can get to work, it only takes 5-10 minutes, so it works really well for us. I put some stats up there, average hourly wage. As I said, 95% of the people who currently work for us, I'm not talking about future people, live in Taylor. The average tenure in my building right now is 10 years. We also offer all the free full health benefits, dental, 401k, profit sharing, tuition reimbursement, all of those great things. Unlike Arrow ran a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week operation, we do not. So our facilities run a first and second shifts, and our buildings shut down around 7 p.m. So you don't have that kind of thing going on 24 hours a day. And I just wanted to mention, these are some of the community involvement things that we're a part of. We adopted some of the things that Arrow were doing. We believe in being a part of the community. So these are just a few of the things that we continue to participate here in the city of Taylor. I'm open for questions.
Councilman Johnson.
The trucks, they all have backup alarms?
Absolutely. So we have to, all of our trucks follow DOT. And I actually run a full fleet facility out of my division.
So my problem with it is that this was actually scheduled to be heavy industrial at one time with the old master plan. I actually brought in about 60 people and we got it changed to TRO. And that's what it is now, correct?
Yes, and this.
And it don't fit TRO,
Yes,
does
it
it?
does.
It does?
Yes.
With all these trucks?
Yes, sir. I just talked to Laura again today just to validate it. It shows it in
You have subdivision back there?
Mainly
All
heavy
that
trucking
noise?
is when you have multiple bays and a heavy amount of traffic is going in and out.
I guess that's my question. Where is this exactly located? This is what, Goddard Road right here?
You know, Councilman Woolley, you know where Oakwood is, the Oakwood Manufacturing?
Yeah.
It's just to the south of that.
Okay, along Inkster Road?
Yeah.
Okay.
Councilman Braddock.
What's the expectation that you possibly will build?
You said
When will you build the building?
So as I mentioned, we have a 5-year lease. We are 2 years into that lease, so I've got to build a facility pretty quickly. We do not own the current facility that we are in, so I have to have a place to operate, and so I've got about 3 years. It takes us about a year to build a facility of that magnitude. And, you know, it's about a year of getting all of the other things in place, permitting and all of those things. So time is of the essence up for us, quite frankly.
Councilman McGraw.
Who does own that building? Your lease is with who?
Era. So the prior owners of Arrow Uniform.
And do you occupy all, there's multiple buildings back there, right? Do you occupy all the properties?
Yes, we are leasing the entire lot. I believe it's about close to 300,000 square feet.
We were talking about the zoning, so what did zoning change on that, George?
Before I got here, so it probably was the last master plan.
Likely on the last master plan, yeah.
Okay.
It was residential, I believe. They wanted to make it heavy industrial, and we moved it from that heavy industrial south of Goddard and made that TRO. I still don't agree that it fits TRO. I'll talk to Laura.
And
about it.
through the chair, I know Mr. Johnson made a concern about that at the last HIPAA meeting we had. So I made mention, so I made sure that I followed up the zoning ordinance, and then I followed up with Laura twice actually on it. And she does not consider this heavy traffic.
Technology research. And we got a small subdivision, be it small, but when you hear beeping, when you have an open field in between, it's loud and it's irritating.
So there's,
At 5
But-
a.m.
But I suspect that beeping exists now because Oakwood takes deliveries all day. And they're a
Not-
24-hour.
Not as much.
Well, they're a 24-hour
But now
operation.
we're moving closer. You know, so.
Councilman, Bullock?
Is your trucks parked inside or outside?
Outside.
Your route trucks?
Let me just mention though, our trucks are not really operating at 5 o'clock in the morning, just to your point. I mean, our guys normally get to the facility about 7. So we operate under normal business hours. And they are back from their route about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And we're unloading. So we're not really operating in early morning or late hours that would be disruptive in my mind to, unless obviously, not saying that everybody's at work at the same hours, but we do that for our employees because it's tough these days. We try to stay away from, we don't operate on weekends. We are Monday to Friday.
George, the property was listed originally at $227,000, is that correct?
Yeah, so a while ago.
So did we do an evaluation on
Yes,
how much did that come
that's
back
in
at?
your package. Jerry did assessment, and it came back at 170.
Jerry, do you want to talk on that, please?
Just through the chair and council, we did do a revised valuation. We considered the heavy woodage that's on the property itself and recognized the cost to remove the wood. And also we looked at different land value sales that have occurred on the Inkster Road, north heading up toward E-course and even south going down toward Pennsylvania. And they were coming in at about 35 to 40 cents a square foot for vacant raw land, which supports a $170,000 purchase price. And then if I could, through Mayor Sollers, a different matter, but he hired a third-party appraiser to do other land in Taylor. And the appraiser came up with a similar price per square foot for raw industrial land along Inkster Road, supporting the $170,000 market value that I came up with.
Councilman Remick?
Here you mentioned in, I think this is yours, you mentioned in here in reference to the property, the influence of value. The portion of the property is a high water table which will have a negative impact on the value of the location. For this market value determination, listings have been adjusted by a minus 30%. Now, you're talking about the property across the road from the location in Romulus?
Not in, no, I'm talking about the city of Taylor through the chair.
So why would we end up with a minus? What's the reason for minusing the property from its value? Because the original value is 227. So here it says, right here, it says that the negative impact, and that's one of my questions, what would be the positive impacts and what is the negative impacts on that property? The negative impact appears to be because it's across the street. Let's see, the subject property is located north of Goddard Road across the street from the industrial park, which is a positive influence on value. A portion of the property is in higher water table, which will have a negative impact on it. So why would there be a negative impact on the property?
If I could, through the chair, from appraisal speaking, when we look at evaluations, we try and identify land at highest and best use as if it's been scraped and ready to be operated. We then have to consider the detriment to the property itself. Is the soil permeable or is it not? And the cost to cure the wetland and soil levels is what justify my reduction to 30%.
So there'd definitely be some remediation that they'd have to do in order to make that soil buildable.
In my
that water
opinion,
table.
yes. As an appraiser, in my opinion, yes.